You might be sitting there saying, do we really have to break down a preview of one of the best offenses in college football? We don't have to, but why the heck not? It's fun to preview, right? Looking at Alabama and what potentially we could see this spring and potentially the roster breakdown and everything going into next season could be for the Alabama offense and Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with a quick video. I'm going to do this in two parts. We're going to do one for the offense of Alabama, and we're going to do one for the defense of Alabama, and outlook for the 2022 season. But I don't want to be biased with this, right? I don't want to kind of show favoritism. If there's a team you actually want me to break down throughout the offseason, over the summer or something, let me know. Just say, hey, can you do this team? And I'll look at their rosters. I'll look at the transfers. I'll look at everything going on within the program and what they have coming in talent-wise in offensive and defensive preview. Today, we're going to do the offense for Alabama. Next up, I'm going to do the defense. Also, by the way, we're still going by conference, still working a little bit through the SEC. I think maybe I got 6 teams left to do. I'm about halfway through with that, but we're going by conference with the team previews, looking at schedules and making record projections. But overall, what did this team do last year? It was incredible. I want to go ahead and say, again, to Bryce Young, I apologize. I know he was worthy of getting the Heisman Trophy. I know he's a Heisman-winning quarterback. Did he have it all year? Of course he did. I just needed to see it against the bigger teams, right? I mean, Miami's good, but then you get teams like Mercer or whoever was in there, right, that are cupcake teams that anybody could blow out, right? But then he struggles against a team like Florida. And I'm not here to turn this into a whole Bryce Young thing or whatever, but we know how good he was. He didn't lose that A&M game. He did struggle. Really, the offensive line is what held them back in the bad offensive games. I don't think he was necessarily the reason for losing the national title. I think the O-line got exposed, and I think the defense went to sleep on Stetson Bennett against Georgia. Overall, though, I think this team was young. The fact, and I think I heard Jeff say it the other day, Jeff Webster, shout out to you. I love you, brother. Roll Tide. I think he said, we're lucky this team made the Natty. I'm glad because I didn't expect it. Even, listen to this. Now, to start the season, but the first game, they put up 44 points against Miami. Now, Miami's good. They're not a bad team. I'm not ripped on them all off season or whatever. Tried to hype that game up. But as the season went on, there was still the ups and downs, right? Even going into the season, I didn't even know if they were going to win the conference. I said it was all Georgia. I said Georgia, Oklahoma. But regardless, we're looking forward to next year, right? This is supposed to be the year where the offense shows up. But it did show up a little early, and it showed up well this past season. Was not too impressed with the offensive line. Doug Marrone has been fired. He's been let go. Eric Wofford comes in. He was Kentucky's offensive line coach this past season. When you look back at it, Eric Wofford coming in as the offensive line coach for the Crimson Tide. And just going to say this, that I'm glad Doug Marrone is gone. I think we need that guy that knows what he's doing, that ultimately that knows what to do with the offense, with the O-line, right? And just put it together. Just get it going. Get it in the right direction. Eric Wofford, I don't know what he brings to the table. I've heard some good things about him. Overall, and Kentucky's had some good offensive linemen in recent years. I think they got one this year going to the draft that's supposed to be a second-round talent in Darion Kenyon. But, again, overall, I'll say this, that Alabama has got to find a way to just put it together. Get the right mindset. I never want to blame the players because of a loss. I never want to blame them for a performance. Sometimes you do have to blame the players because when you have the right mindset and the game plan going in, and it's clear like dropping open passes, which in some cases was a problem for the offense at times. I mean, Bryce Young did what he could. He handled pressure well. He took a sack or two. It happens. But overall, this team is still young, even going into this year. But you got some guys to step it up, right? And it was great to see some guys getting a chance on offense. Overall, what can we expect? Let's look at Bryce Young real quick. Mr. Heisman Trophy winner, right? 2021 Heisman QB, over 4,000 yards, 47 touchdowns, 7 INTs, a QBR of 87.6. It was incredible what this guy did last year. Bryce, we love you. We appreciate you. Shout out to CJ Stroud, though. He did technically have the highest QBR in college football of 91.6. He was even a Heisman finalist because of his QBR and other skill sets. CJ Stroud is pretty good. But outside of the QBR thing, Bryce practically led in almost every category in ways. He did very, very well for Alabama, and he took it by storm. I know, and again, I apologize for the criticism. Going season, I love Bryce Young. I want y'all to understand that. 6 foot even, 194 pounds, over 4,000 yards, 47 touchdowns, 87 QBR, right? Second, and second. He's tied 46 in interceptions thrown last year. He had 7, right? One of them being, or I think 2 came in the Natty against Georgia, but he doesn't make mistakes often. Does he make mistakes? I mean, everybody does, of course. But is Bryce Young that guy that you want to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL someday? Absolutely. What is it about Bryce Young? He's got poise, great athleticism, can take out the pocket, can throw the ball very, very well. He's very effective, elusive with the football. Overall, he's just very smart and knowledgeable. He can handle pressure. Now, too much pressure, like Georgia was rushing 5 guys on him in the title game, stuff like that. I want to see him get better at doing it on a regular and consistent basis. I want to see this guy, and I hope we don't get in a situation we got to come back. I know we came back in the Iron Bowl. That was 10-0. It was 33-18 in the fourth quarter. And even on that final drive when he had the ball last, he could not get anything going. Looked like a deer in headlights. And receivers just couldn't catch the ball. I hope the receivers step up and that he has targets to actually throw to this year. And again, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus in this video. I think I'd never want to blame the players, but sometimes, man, you can't sugarcoat it. Some players just didn't know what they were doing last year and wouldn't catch the ball. But you got Bryce Young, as I mentioned. He's going to be a key guy. Could he win another Heisman in a row? I think I'm trying to think back. Was it Archie Manning or whoever it was? You can win a Heisman twice. It's super hard to do. It's a rarity. It's easier for a team to go back-to-back with championships than a guy to win a Heisman 2 straight years in a row, let alone twice, even if – let's say Bryce Young doesn't go pro after this season. Doubt it, championship or not. But let's say he comes back for his senior year and wins it then. It's still kind of hard to do. Even if it wasn't back-to-back, it was still 2 times for the same guy to try to win the prestigious award in college football they call the Heisman. But Bryce Young's going to have a breakout season this year. I'm not here to make predictions. I'm here to look at it. It starts with Bryce Young for the offense. Heisman Trophy winner. Again, 47 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards, 7 INTs, and a great QBR rating of 87.6, right? That being said, we move on down the road. Starting roster, supposedly, and what I predict, I don't know who to predict for the running back room. I would start with my guy, Jace McClellan, but who I want to see is a guy like Roydell Williams, who I think could break out, right? You look at what he's done. 48 rushing attempts, 284 yards, and 1 touchdown last year. He got the ball quite a bit. At times, he was early enrollee, I think, in the 2020 season. You see him there wearing that patch. I think he got some good reps on the field a little bit in practice. He's one of those backup guys that when we needed to rest Mac Jones in 2020 and we put the starters on the bench like Devontae Smith and Ajay, he was out there with the 2s and the 3s with guys like Bryce Young, with guys like, I don't know, John Mechie was still starting, I think, but like some other guys out there that he was part of it. He is a hard-hitting he's like fullback type in ways. I think the running back position could be one of 3 guys. Him, Kamar Wheaton from the 2021 signing class, a lot of people are high on. Here's the thing about Jace McClellan. And the third guy being Trey Sanders, one of those guys. 3 years ago, Trey Sanders, of course. We'll get to him in a second, actually. But here's the thing. He was the key guy. Jace McClellan was a key guy in mop-up time last year, right? We played teams like I can't even remember the non-conference schedule off the top of my head, but like the high school type of teams where we're blowing out 48-7 in the fourth quarter, and it's time to rest guys, and we would put the second and third string quarterback or whatever out there, and we would also do it to every other position for the offense, and even in some cases the defense. Roydell Williams was that guy that we just kind of put out there in mop-up time, and we gave the ball to. And Alabama is good at doing that. And here's why they do that. Why do they put the second and third strings out there if they're up? Why not? Why are you resting your starters? Well, first off, you don't want to hurt your starters in a meaningless situation like if you're blowing out nobody high school 50-0, right? Why would you keep them out there if you don't have to put together a game-winning drive or the game's not on the line? You don't have to worry about that. But also, you give a guy like a Roydell Williams who's second, third, or fourth string, whatever, down the list, you give that guy an opportunity to win and just get better as a player, get some actual game time and on-field experience. That's why you put a guy like him out there. Another running back I'd look at is Trey Sanders. Could he be running back 1? He was hurt with the ACL tear in like spring practice in his freshman year back in 2019, that season or something, I think was when it happened. So he didn't play at all. Last year, he had 2 rushing touchdowns, 314 yards off 72 rushing attempts. I think those are pretty good numbers. He's a very speedy and versatile back. I'd like Trey Sanders to be that guy. I don't even think he's necessarily injury prone. But what happened was he had an ACL injury 3 years ago, and last year he got off to a good start, or maybe it was 2 seasons ago. It was during the season. I don't remember if it was the 2020 season or if it was this past year, but he got off to a good start, and we saw quite a bit of playing time from Trey Sanders. And he ultimately had a car accident, and he went down and hurt his leg really bad. So it's not like he got hurt again because of a football play or incident like that. It was a life-altering event with a car accident. Things happen. If he's healthy, I don't think he's our go-to starting running back. It's possible. Every guy's got to earn their position, right? And I think especially for the running back position this year, I think it is still kind of up for grabs. But 72 rushing attempts, 314 yards, and 2 touchdowns last year, those are really good numbers for a guy that hardly got playing time, which I know you might say 72 rushing attempts is still pretty good for a running back, especially considering that Alabama just overall throws the ball. But I think the running back room this year, in my opinion, starts with Jace McClellan. Brian Robinson is going to the draft. I mentioned the draft losses, by the way. Slade Bolden to the NFL, Jameson Williams, John Mechie, Brian Robinson. Those are at least top 4 guys that we're losing on offense. But Jace McClellan, I think, starts out the running back room, and then I think you see a guy like a Trey Sanders go out there and make some big-time plays, right, overall. Breakdown real quick. We looked at Bryce Young, obviously the Heisman winner, Roydell Williams. The wide receiving room, real quick. Let's look at that for a second. Let's go back here. Give me 1 second. And we look at the receiving room. I want to start with Jakori Brooks here. He's a guy that made some noise late in the season and was a slow riser at times, right? Obviously, Jameson Williams gets hurt in the national title game. I think he's recovering well right now. He was the go-to receiver. It was John Mechie. It was really him, and it was Mechie and Williams. But don't overlook some guys like a Cameron Law, too, at tight end, obviously. Jaleel Billingsley actually transferred out to Texas. Trey Holden, Jacory Brooks, JoJo Earl. Keep your eye on him. Keep an eye on Ajay Hall. But Jacory Brooks, let's look at this guy. He got 15 receptions last year, 192 yards and 2 touchdowns, one of them coming, I think, against Auburn. He got like the game-tying play against the Auburn Tigers. In that overtime win, he got 1 touchdown. He got 2 receptions of 49 yards. He is a deep threat receiver, Jacory Brooks is. I think that he's got an amazing skill set as a wide receiver. I think he's a guy, you see him right there being quiet. See, I like to look at that and say that fits perfectly with him, what he's doing right there, because he's quiet, but he's really loud. And I think he's going to be loud this year to make some great noise. Again, 15 receptions, 192 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the longest play he had was 44 yards last season with the Tide. But again, he was not a go-to receiver. He was in mop-up time, or he was, some guys that just kind of got replaced. Or I don't know what happened in that Iron Bowl that he was actually seeing the field quite a bit, but he's out there making some good catches, right? The game-tying touchdown in the Iron Bowl against Auburn. He had a great touchdown against Cincinnati, some big plays. I think it's one of the better names in T-Town right now that could make some big-time plays this next season. It'd be interesting to see these guys on the field in the spring game coming up in a couple months in April. I have to double-check what day that is. I think it's the 23rd or the 16th of April on a Saturday, obviously. But watch an eye on Jacory Brooks. Again, just incredible. I think he's got great speed. I think that he can catch the ball very well. He just has to learn to be a little bit more consistent, a little more athleticism. I think he's got some good size, though, but I think he could be a breakout player this year overall. Some key guys like that. Ajay Hall saw time in the spring game in 2021. Amazing explosive receiver. I don't know where he was last year. I saw him on the field in the Georgia Natty a little bit. He was making some good plays. Overall, Ajay Hall had, honestly, though, 4 receptions last year, 72 yards, longest play at 28. I think he was a freshman last year, right? Hold on. Ajay Hall. Yeah, he was a freshman from Valrico, Florida. He's 6'3", 195. I don't know what happened to him, but if you go back and find the 2021 spring game highlights, Ajay Hall is out there grabbing one-handed, catches in the spring game. And I understand what you do in the spring game is meaningless compared to actual game time and practice and everything. I don't know if there's off-field issues. I don't know what his grades are, obviously. I don't know what factors played in to him not seeing the field as much. I don't know if you bring in the transfer of Jameson Williams, if that took his place. But overall, could we see him this year? I think we'd have to. And if not, I think he should just cut his losses and transfer out. I hate to say that. I like Ajay Hall. I love his high school film. Go check him out. He's very speedy. He can turn. He can, just very athletic and knows where to go up and get the football. But that's a guy we can watch out for with the Crimson Tide this year as well. Overall, you look at the offense. I mentioned the offensive line. Just kind of, I don't know. I'm getting off track. I know maybe if I'm covering some of this again, The offensive line, Doug Marrone's out. Bill O'Brien's still the offensive coordinator. I mentioned Eric Wofford becomes the new line coach. Brockmeyer twins are in. Lose Chris Owens and Evan Neal. So did the Brockmeyer twins move up? Do Tommy and James get some time? You get Pierce Quick. He transfers out to Georgia Tech. Other guys have stayed. Overall, I'm expecting the O-line to really step it up because it did not impress me really at all last year. Javion Cohen, Emil Ekiyor, Darian Dalcourt, Amari Knight, J.C. Latham, Seth McLovin. There's some key guys on there that you just got to look out for that could step it up and play some big-time football for the Tide on the O-line next season. Overall, I'll just end it on this note. I really don't have much else for you. Jacory Brooks, Ajay Hall, Cameron Latu starts out at the tight end position. Speedy tight end, can block, get wide open. By the way, I don't know if anybody knew this. I actually just found this out, but he started out as an outside linebacker for a while. He redshirted, sat on the bench, and moved to tight end position and has been a great physical threat ever since. He made some great plays in last year's spring game. He made some plays this year with the Crimson Tide. Cameron Latu is a key guy that could make some noise this season for the Crimson Tide. Made some touchdowns against teams like Miami. I think obviously some teams like Florida or whatever in there too. But that's just another guy that Bryce Young can work with. Overall, I'll say this, that Bryce Young was not the issue last year, but going into this year, there shouldn't be an excuse. If we are bringing back Bill O'Brien and everything, and now you got a new line coach, I just don't think Doug Marrone was the guy. Eric Wofford, this guy that we're bringing in, has had great offensive lines at Kentucky. Overall, I can't grade an offense yet, obviously being preseason, but I'll say this. I expect a lot of big things for this offense going into 2022, and just looking forward to the football season. Hey, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Comment down below and let me know what you think about the Alabama offense and what to expect. Who are you looking forward to, Tide fans? What position group are you looking forward to seeing? Honestly, I'm looking to see just consistency on the O-line because they had some good games, they had some bad. I want to see who actually steps up at the receiving position because I named off quite a few guys like Ajay Hall, Jakori Brooks. We really don't know who's going to be out there receiving for the Crimson Tide. We really don't know yet, but it is interesting to watch. It's interesting to see and something to keep an eye on. Overall, I think I just think overall, and I'm not saying this out of bias, I think that you need to watch out for the Crimson Tide. I'm going to do a defensive preview video for them here in a couple days for you guys very, very soon, and we'll look at the defensive side of the ball. But overall, I did not expect the offense and even Bryce Young to be as good as they were this past year. I darn sure didn't expect to win the SEC and have a Heisman-winning quarterback last year after everything they lost from 2020. But, I mean, you think about what Bryce Young did this past year. If he's not a bust and he is the real deal, and if he can find room to get better, which there is always room for improvement, he's getting better. You're bringing guys back. Now they have experience, and they bring it in this year. Alabama's poised for good success in 2022, and it's just going to be fun to watch and see what the Tide can do. I love you guys. I'm going to get out of here. Please like, comment, and subscribe right here to Ballard Sports Media for more sports content. And until next time, folks, Ballard Sports Media checking out. Love you guys. Jesus loves you. God bless. And as always,
roll down Tide.
Roll Tide, roll. Love you guys. Ballard Sports Media checking out. Y'all.